Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. I'm going to make a very quick video today because I'm actually heading off for a holiday tomorrow. I'll be away going to Cyprus. I'm going obviously with the missus. So I'm going to be away for a week. So this is going to be my last video. I thought I'd create this video mainly because I want to actually talk about Biden's call with President Xi, and it's actually a major talking point really, and I wanted to kind of discuss what was actually discussed. A couple of people who have emailed me, a couple of people from China who have emailed me, they are getting a lot of information from Chinese sources and they have shared things with me, and I want to kind of share it with you guys. So obviously Biden has called President Xi, and President Xi was pretty pissed, to be honest, and he called President Biden a really shitty president. He said that in front of his face, and he said that because he says you are basically, every time you promise something, your team basically does something else. So obviously Nancy Pelosi came up, and President Biden told President Xi that he can't control Nancy Pelosi. This is her own doing. She's basically going to Taiwan out of her own accord. And President Xi has basically told Biden in his face, he says, you are a really shitty president if you can't control your team. You are a useless president if you have no authorization and you can't control who goes where. And so President Biden obviously was taken aback from it, and then President Xi obviously told Biden, you are basically playing with fire, and those who play with fire usually get burnt. And Biden was pretty much taken aback. He also called Biden a liar. He says, all of these things that you've promised me since the last conversation, you've basically done nothing. All you've been doing is pushing this, pushing decoupling with China, adding all of these extra, blacklists to China, adding all of these chip bills and things like that. And yeah, so President Xi was not happy with Biden at all. So he told him into his face he's a liar. He tells President Xi one thing, but behind his back he does something completely different. And President Xi has also warned Biden that the steps that Biden is taking, it could lead to war. And if Nancy Pelosi actually does turn up in Taiwan, things will escalate between the two countries. And I can understand why Biden is calling President Xi, by the way. Biden is calling President Xi because today, officially, I saw this article, US plunges into recession. So the US economy has shrunk for 2 consecutive quarters, which means that they are officially on recession. And it's not a coincidence that Biden has called President Xi, because if you remember 2008, during the market crash in 2008, China actually bailed out the United States at the time. So I can imagine that President Biden is actually calling President Xi to help him bail him out again. So it's not really a coincidence that the same day that it's been announced the US has gone officially on recession, that he calls President Xi. I mean, somebody must have told Biden, hang on a second, we're in recession now, and we need to call the Chinese, and we need to get some favors off them. We need to get them to bail us out. So this is the reason he's calling President Xi. And obviously President Xi wasn't having any of it. The call was pretty sour. The Chinese papers basically have said what an angry exchange it was. And President Xi has says there is not going to be any more communication until Biden sorts everything out, Biden sorts his team out. There was a lot of steps that Biden was taking. For example, he was changing the One China policy in the US's websites as well. And, there was a lot of steps that US was taking behind the scenes, which was antagonizing the Chinese. President Xi has also asked for tariffs to be removed. So I don't know if Biden's going to do that. So there's a big laundry basket of things for Biden to do. And unfortunately, I just don't think Biden has any power in the United States. I don't think he can do anything. I think a lot of neo-hawks and liberals or people that run the United States, people that control Biden, they are pretty much running things at the moment. So I just don't think Biden will be able to take anything back from this meeting. And if Nancy Pelosi does go ahead and go to Taiwan, things will escalate very, very severely. I don't think there's going to be any military action. I don't think China would go that far. I think what they would probably do is maybe some economic sanctions, and also they'll probably take some economic actions and stuff like that, not only with Taiwan but also with the United States. And they will refuse to help the United States in any matter whatsoever. And the trust will be completely gone between the two countries. And things will be very, very sour. And if the United States wants help from the Chinese would probably say blank no. Sorry, it's not happening. So yes, things are not looking good between the two. And I just don't think President Xi is in position to help Biden whatsoever, and Biden is in a very, very bad spot at the moment. His approval ratings gone down. His country is officially in recession. So he's looking at ways he can get whatever he can from the Chinese, and behind their backs he still wants to kick them. And I think he just wants to basically be the snake, get what he can from the Chinese and bite them behind their backs. It's just not going to happen this time, unfortunately. I also want to talk about the US military. Right now, the US military is heading for a $1 trillion military budget. Right now, I think it's about $850 or a bit more than that. And it's going up every single month. And the reason it's going up every single month, obviously inflation is going up. So when inflation goes up, obviously your military budget will have to go up. America has got over 800 bases around the world. It's got all of these aircraft carriers it has to maintain, all of these F-35s it's got to maintain. And you can see this is a really, really good breakdown of everything that's happening. The Pentagon budget is $575 billion. The regular budget contains costs of the training, army, incorporation of the US military and of massive civilian workforce that supports it. And this is basically covering all of their basic costs. So if you can go down, the actual war budget itself is $64.6 billion, and the war budget is when they actually have wars, and obviously that goes up and down depending on what war they have at the time. The nuclear warheads, there's about 20 billion of that. This will require a lot of modernizing as well, so they're going to have to spend a lot more on these nuclear warheads. Obviously, the Chinese and Russian have a huge advantage when it comes to hypersonic missiles, and if you put a hypersonic missile with a nuclear warhead in it, obviously Chinese and the Russian will have a huge advantage over the United States. So that's not really good news. Other defense, 8 billion, and these are things like defense related funding that go to agencies other than the Pentagon. So obviously backhanders and things like that. Homeland Security, 50 billion. Obviously after the 9/11 attacks, Congress created a mega agency, Homeland Security, so they take about 50 billion. Military aid, 7 billion. And obviously they provide a lot of military aid around the world, and obviously they're doing that to Ukraine at the moment. Intelligence 70 billion. And I gotta say, the intelligence is getting 70 billion, but it's probably the worst intelligence I have ever seen in my life. This is the same intelligence that said Iraq has got weapons of mass destruction. This is the same intelligence talking crap about Russia, talking crap about Ukraine. It's the same intelligence talking crap about China. So I don't know where all of this money goes, to be honest. Supporting veterans, 186 billion. So obviously it's not just supporting veterans, but also there's a lot of guys with PTSD as well and stuff like that. So a lot of the money goes on there. Military retirement, 80 billion as well. Defense share of interest of the debt, another 100 billion. So you can see all of that stuff break, after being broken down. The final tally comes up to 1.1 trillion, and so that is a huge number, and obviously that's in line with inflation, and it's gonna probably head much more. If there was a war with Russia, for example, or if there was a war with China, that will severely increase as well. So things are not looking good between especially during this time, during the economic times, and it seems like US is basically throwing all their money into the military. There's hardly anything left for the people. There's hardly anything left for healthcare, education, research, and it seems like everything's going into the military industrial complex. So that's all I wanted to say for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next video, which will probably be about a week's time. Take care for now. See you soon.